Hello and welcome back and happy Friday to all guys. How are you? Everything is working perfectly with you? Tell me in the comment section how is your Friday going, because it's a special day for this special request. So I received this special request on my Patreon page by Mr. Muhammad Isa. He requested this legendary Nissan, whatever you want to call it, the S20 engine. This is a very legendary engine made from 1968 up to 1973. It's an inline 6 engine. As you can see, it's a 2-liter inline 6 engine with 3 Weber carburetors. As you can see, it's an awesome engine, and it wasn't really easy to make. It was a little bit difficult because in 1973 some countries started to ban the leaded fuel and they started to use the unleaded fuel. And to make this engine more modern and clean as possible and really close to the real engine, I made it in the latest and the last version of it in the 1973, which was there was in 1973 two versions of it: a mechanical fuel injected version and the Weber carbureted version of it. So you could have get the a fuel injected version or the carbureted version, and I made the carbureted version because it looks more magnificent and it sounded more aggressive. I mean, of course, mechanical fuel injection version, it will be more economical. It will run better and it will run on lower octane. But the Weber carburetors, I mean, no petrol head or car or engine enthusiast will argue that these carburetors are just magnificent. Now, let's start with the specs from Wikipedia. All of these specs are official. Inline 6 engine, cast iron block, 82mm on the bore, 62.8mm on the stroke, which equals 1900, and it should be actually 1989. It should be like this, but these numbers, the 82 on the bore and 62.8 on the stroke, these are perfectly like the real engine, but as you can see, we have 1cc difference here. And so yes, they called it a 2-liter engine, but it was a 1989cc engine. Dual overhead camshaft with 4 valves per cylinder, cast iron block, head material. Of course, no VVL technology here. Cast iron crankshaft, cast connecting rods, and of course cast pistons. Zero quality on the internals. 8.9:1 is the compression ratio, 70 on the cam profile, and yes, I'm using +10 quality camshaft and valves and cylinder head. I had to use +10 here so I can make it produce the correct power and torque using 91 octane fuel, unleaded fuel with a two-way catalytic converter. As we all know, two-way catalytic converter is a very restrictive catalytic converter. That's why I really tried hard to make the correct power and torque figures. Naturally aspirated, turbos hasn't been invented yet. As you can see, I'm using a carburetor DCOE, which means Weber. Triple carburetors like the real engine, performance, not race. I will not remove the air filters because the engine will become less reliable. Regular 91 octane fuel. 13.7 is the air fuel ratio with 78 on the ignition timing and 7200 rpm limit with +10 quality here. I'm also using a long tubular header. I'm not really sure about the real engine. I think the real engine used a short cast headers, but I had to use long tubular heads so I can make the real power and torque figures. Single exhaust pipe, 2-inch, two-way catalytic converter, which is my least favorite catalytic converter because it's very restrictive. No first mufflers, second straight through mufflers to give it the extra sportiness, the sound and good airflow, +12 quality on the exhaust, and this is the final result. 160 horsepower at 7200 rpm, 130 pound-feet of torque like the real engine. And as you can see, the engine is we can say reliable. 48 points in 1973. It is very good. Fuel economy is 11%, 11.2, also good. I'm using all the available octane. The emissions, I mean, with a catalytic converter, and I've tried really hard to make it as efficient and as clean and as powerful like a real engine, and it still managed 1603.9 emission points, which in 1973 considered very clean, because leaded fuel Leaded fuel engines produced thousands and thousands of emission points, but this one is only 1,600, so this is a pretty much clean engine back then. The noise is 41 points. It's responsive, of course, because of these beautiful looking Webers carburetors, and of course the engine is smooth because it's an inline 6. Even with a racing or super sport camshaft profile, it still managed to do some good smoothness to it. It's torquey, it's powerful, it's a performance engine, and even with cast internals and cast cylinder head and cast block, it's still a little bit heavyweight, 181 kilograms. Of course, the engineering time and the production units, don't look at these because this is a replica of an engine. It's not. I'm not gonna mass produce it or put it in the cars because 170 points on engineering time is a little bit high for a mass produced engine. So this is a one-time shot of a legendary engine. As you can see, so the request is make this engine in its replica form and then transform it to 2018 and do a direct fuel injection of it, turbocharge it, make as much as possible with aluminum cylinder head. Now let's start with the basic one, with the original one. As you can hear, it sounds magnificent, and the curve, the power and torque curve is just magnificent, and it looks like an art. Look at the torque curve, the power curve, absolutely magnificent. As you can hear and see, the engine is absolutely amazing. Now let's make a 2018 version of it. Let me paint you a little paint here. Imagine if you find this engine in an old classic Nissan maybe, or you find it in a junkyard or something, and you decided that you want to bring it back to life. Maybe, for example, you took it to your own workshop. This is the engine, as you can see, 1973. Now let's make a clone of it. Alright, we have the clone here. Let me continue painting the picture. You got the engine. Let's say the engine is perfectly in a perfect condition, never been open. You opened it, but you never bore it. You never overbore it, or put a stroker kit on it. You just kept it as stock as possible, but you opened it, and of course you put a better pistons in it. As you can see, everything here is locked. I cannot change anything here, and unfortunately, I mean, Mr. Muhammad Izari wanted me to put an aluminum silicon head on it, but when you make a clone, these are locked, so you cannot change the head or the head material or the block material. Maybe the developers, they should open only the materials if you want to make it a modern version of it. Now let's move on. As you can see, the family, you cannot change the year of it, but the variant, of course, you can change the year. Now let's go all the way to 2018. As you can see, putting a modern parts in it will make it, of course, less heavyweight, more reliable, more smooth, more fuel efficient. It will use less octane. It will be it will produce less emissions because it's 2018 technology here. So we still have the same engine, but imagine if you took it, put modern internals in it, put everything modern on it. Even with 2018 Weber carburetors, of course you can buy carburetors today. They are not extended yet, but you can buy them, with modern technologies in them, and you will make, of course, more power and torque. Look, we started in 160 horsepower, now it's 173 horsepower, and from 130 pound-feet of torque, now it's 142 pound-feet of torque. As you can see, modern technology will beat everything. But this is still with its own carburetors and with everything we did before, but now let's try and go to 2018. I mean, the internals can go all the way to 11,000 RPM. Look at the crankshaft. A cast iron crankshaft can go to 11,000 RPM. And yes, look, cast connecting rods 9600 rpm, cast pistons 9600 rpm. Yes, they can go to a higher rpm, but the torque not much here. So if we want to turbocharge this beast, we need to upgrade the internals. Let's start doing them right now. Forged steel crankshaft will do the trick. Heavy duty forged connecting rods, and let's say lightweight forged connecting rods, that's better, and lightweight forged pistons. This way we can rev to the moon. And if these internals cannot take the torque, which I'm sure about the pistons and the connecting rods, they won't take that as much torque as titanium or normal forged. Let's move on, since we will be choosing a direct fuel injection, which is an extremely efficient. And look at the difference in fuel efficiency and octane. 79 instead of 90. Look at the difference from a carburetor to direct fuel injection. And of course we have more power now, we have more torque. Everything is getting perfect by the minute. I'm not gonna put variable valve timing. I want to keep the engine classic. I don't want to put modern technologies on it. I'm not really sure if you can buy kits for this engine, a variable valve timing kit for the camshaft. I'm not really sure. That's why I'm gonna keep it none. Let's say if you put better internals, you raise the compression ratio to 9.5 to 1, for example. Let's drop the quality here to 0 to keep everything minimum, and like the real thing. 0 here, 0 here, as you can see. And yes, if you want to keep this engine naturally aspirated, keep the long tubular headers, put a high flow 3-way Curler converters, no second muffler with bypass valves on it, as you can see. Perfect. Let's see the ignition timing. Yes, let's raise the RPM a little bit, maybe to 8000. Raise the camshaft profile, see how much we can hit. Yes, like this. Raise the RPM a little bit to 9000, for example. May put a little bit of ignition in. As you can see, the same engine with 91 octane fuel with extremely less emissions than before. We are making 220 horsepower, which is good. It's not really bad. It's not bad at all. A bigger exhaust pipe will do better, and everything is on 0 quality. But I'm not really happy with this power and torque figures. I mean, we can do absolutely more. Look at this beautiful carbon fiber intake manifold. Look at the throttle response, 80 points. The engine is now more smooth. Of course, it's louder than before. It's more efficient. Everything is better in it than before, and it's lighter because of the forged internals. Now let's put a snorkel-looking snail beast on it and make it going choo-choo all the way. Let's put 1000 horsepower supporting intercooler. I'm gonna put a custom turbocharger. I hate this everything. As you can see, turbine compressor to the max. This is not efficient at all. Let's drop the boost to 10 psi so we can make less knocking. Use 95 octane fuel, and now let's start to make our custom turbocharger. I always like to put the least amount of turbine and the most amount of AR ratio. This way we will have an efficient amount of turbine, and as you can see, the graph is looking efficient. The boost will start at 3900. Still not efficient enough because of the compressor. The compressor size is overkill, over too much. So if you want to go to max, you go to 55.5, less intercooler size, like this. And now we can start to add turbine size here, so you can go to the efficient point. But in this engine, in this particular engine, Mr. Muhammad Isa requested a max horsepower. So I'm gonna keep going on so I can reach the silver lining, the silver line point, like here, 36, like here, 57. And now let's start to add a little bit of boost to it. for example 13 psi. That's good because the ignition timing is really high. You have to respect that. Now everything is working perfectly, as you can see. Yes, we can push the camshaft to its max, as you can see. Okay, and let's start into the turbo again. I mean, you have to go back and forth so you can find the perfect amount of everything: torque, power, boost, everything. As you can see, 94, we're using really 94 octane. If you want to keep it on zero quality, as you can see, 74 points on engineering time, which is pretty much normal. Now we have to increase the fuel going in and of course put a bigger exhaust system on. Maybe, no, 3.2. Yes, 3.2 inch is more than enough. We have 375 horsepower. Remember, this engine started in life with only 160 horsepower, so we added extra 215 horsepower. Absolutely amazing. Now, what should we do next? Should we go to 98 octane fuel? I mean, of course, if I want to add quality, I will make more power. And yes, sorry, I forgot, Mr. Isa wanted more quality. The internals are good enough, no need for better quality here. Let's say put extra 5 here, extra 5 on the turbo, extra 5 on the fuel system, and of course extra 5 on the exhaust. Yes, the engineering time has increased a little bit, but now we have extra power and torque, and we have an extra headroom to tweak the engine in. Let's see, more ignition timing won't do any difference. No. What should we do? More turbine, more compressive size. Okay, more turbine size. Yes, of course, the engine will get less efficient. I mean, the engine will get a little bit laggy. But if you are going to max horsepower, you have to respect it. Let's see, 425 horsepower. It's like now this engine is making more power, or power similar power to an SRT V8, not a Hellcat V8. You know, the regular SRT beasts. We are going really close to it. 3.5 inch exhaust pipe. No, don't decrease here. Maybe add a little bit of compression to it. As you can see, this is a tiny engine. Remember, this is a 2-liter engine. This is not a 3-liter or 3.5 liter, so you won't really see that much power out of it. I mean, even if you push everything to the max, seeing like 1,000 horsepower is like a dream here. Now, since everything is going perfect, let me push everything to plus 15 so I can show you what this engine can really do with everything to plus 15, except the internals. As you can see, yes, it will take years and years to be produced, but look at the difference in the numbers here. Now we can start to push this beast to its limits. For example, the turbo. Now we can push a little bit, put a bigger compressor, a little bit bigger turbine. I mean, there is no really point of adding extra. As you can see, adding more fuel in, more RPM won't do any different. As you can see, even if I put 9,500, bigger exhaust system won't do any different. So as you can see, the engine is getting maxed out at the moment. If you want to push, put a racing intake manifold on it. More timing, as you can see, won't do any difference. 91 is good. More boost, of course, will give you more power, but it will drop with the peak, as you can see on the top. Let's see how much we can go. We can go to 25 psi. If you want to use 100 octane fuel, push it all the way to 10.2. Put more boost in it. As you can see, the connecting rods are starting to give up. Go here and choose titanium because they can take it, or you can choose heavy duty forged and normal forged because actually the RPM is not really high here, so yes, we are perfect. Maxed out compressor size. Yes, of course the engine. I hate when the engine getting less efficient like this. I mean, look, it will the turbo will kick in at 5,300 RPM. That's not good, and it will go all the way to 8,000. So you don't have really that much room. More intercooler size, more exhaust size, as you can see. What else should you do? Ignition timing, yes, maxed out. Fuel maxed out. Yes, cam profile maxed out. So the engine is pretty much maxed out, as you can see. If you want to remove the header, sorry, the muffler, and remove the color converter, it's pretty much perfect. Maybe I'm not really sure now. Let's see 10.0 to 1, 10.3 to 1. Maybe add the VVT for all cams. Extra point of compression. Drop the boost a little bit. As you can see, the engine is pretty much maxed out. 712 horsepower. 713. No need for bypass valves because there are no mufflers. So it's maxed out, as you can see. 715 horsepower. Okay, everything is maxed out. But this is not really efficient. I mean, yes, of course, it's a requested video. I love to make any requested video, even if it's crazy. But I mean, I don't like this setup here. This setup, I know that's making tons of power, 750 more than a Hellcat, but no, it's not efficient. I mean, it will be efficient at 450, 500 horsepower. This is efficient, but 700, it's not efficient at all. Let's see, maxed out. Right. So this is the maxed out version. As you can see, 715 horsepower, not much, you know. I mean, look, let me show you. It's not really efficient. It's not fuel efficient. It uses all the available octane. Yes, the emissions are good for no color converters whatsoever, but the engineering time, this is extreme here, and it has sport noise to it. It's very responsive, it's smooth, and the power is amazing. Yes, everything is perfect here. Everything is absolutely perfect, but no. If I want to make it as my own engine, where is it? Let me see it. Okay, so they have the original closed replica. Sorry, the maxed out, the closed replica, and now let me choose the closed replica again and make a clone of it. Let me show you how I really like to see this engine. Let's see, this is the original one, 1973. Let's move it on to 2018. Yes, again. I will if it's up to me, I will put low friction cast pistons. I mean, yes, they cannot really take that much of a torque, but let's say +2 quality. Drop the quality of these. Put, let's see what else. Drop the quality here. And uses direct fuel injection, single performance. I mean, no, let's just drop it for single. It's more efficient. And let's drop it to 14 here. 79. Let's see how much. 7,500. High flow 3-way. Put no, not 2-inch, maybe 3-inch. Reverse flow straight through. Let's see, zero quality, 180 horsepower. As you can see, this is better. 2.2 inch with bypass valves. Now you see this engine how it should meant to be. How it meant to be. Let's see, more camshaft profile, maybe. Yes, that's better. When it starts to drop torque, I will stop increasing. Yes, here 200 horsepower. Okay, 200 horsepower like this. Add more compression to it, because I like naturally aspirated engines. Yes, let's keep using 91 octane fuel. This is how I like the engine to perform. 215 horsepower, 152 pound-feet of torque. Let's see, more RPM. Let's see, 8,500. And yes, look, we have 18% of fuel efficiency. We are using 91 octane. The engine is reliable. The engine is smooth. It has sporty noise to it. And look, 65 engineering points only. So won't you agree that this is better? This is more efficient. And of course, if I want to use turbocharger, let me drop the, let's make it like 10.0 to 1, drop the ignition timing a little bit to the 50 point, and of course add a turbocharger. I will add my own efficient one. Let's say 500 here. No, drop this one to 50, drop this one to its knees, and max this one out. No, I will not increase it. I'm going to keep it efficient as possible. 50 here, 30 here. Let's say 12 psi of boost. Yes, like this. This is now more efficient as possible. Let's use 95 octane fuel. Increase the ignition timing. Yes, as you can see, we have dual exhaust type, 3-inch straight through. As you can see, we have 300 horsepower. Now this is efficient, not 500 or 700. This is efficiency, my friend. And that's how it should have been. Yes. 10.0 to 1, 92 on the cam profile, no VVT. This is a classic one. As you can see, everything is perfect. This is how this engine should have been. 300 horsepower, 215 pound-feet of torque, performance one, reliable, efficient, really clean, has good quiet sport noise to it, smooth, responsive. What else would you want? And oh yes, Mr. Muhammad Isa commented also. Mr. Muhammad, this is your own request. I'm making it now. The engine is running perfectly, and this is how it should have been. I'm gonna call this one awesome sport. Yes, this is how I would really love to see it in a car. It's a tiny one. It's a 2-liter only, but it's making 300 horsepower. It's very smooth, good, reliable, efficient, etc. You know what I mean. So you have seen 3 versions of it: the classic original one, the maxed out one with 715 horsepower, and the efficient one with only 300 horsepower. So which one would you prefer? I mean, of course, if you are a drag guy, if you want to go to a drag strip and go drag racing, yes, you would prefer the 715 horsepower, of course, so you can kick everyone's bottom. But if you want to run it as a daily driving engine, of course, I think you will prefer this one. Of course, if you are a classic car guy, you will prefer the classic original one with Weber carburetors. So it's up to you. I would really love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. So if you enjoyed the video, please let me see those likes go up in the sky. Hit the like button, get subscribed if you are new to my channel, watch all my previous videos, and let me see your awesome comments below, and share the video if you want to share it. And of course, if you want to request an engine, please go to my Patreon page. I will put the link in the description below. Press the link, make an account, write your request, and I will make it as soon as possible. So thank you so much for watching. I'm really happy that you watched my videos and you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really happy for you guys, and happy Friday for all of you, and happy weekend to all of you guys. Thank you so much, and I will see you very soon with more cool videos than this one and even more. And goodbye for now, my friends.